Is your rotator off? Hey guys, guess who? Well, we're going to try this one more time. And we are Lauren and Joy Hershey, and we're okay now. We're going live.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
We are in
Actually,
landscape
we did that,
mode.
and so I'm not sure what's going on tonight. But anyway.
Tiffany's watching. Hi, Tiffany.
And John Rucker. Awesome. We love you
Good,
guys.
good.
Thanks for joining us. We're glad to be coming to you tonight to help you with your marriages and hopefully just inspire you a little bit tonight. As we promised last week, we're going to continue talking about love languages. And so
Yes.
to talk about that, just to bring us up to speed a little bit about that, love languages is a concept from a book by Gary Chapman, so you could get that book. It's a classic now. And the concept is to help us to love our spouse in a way that they feel loved.
Yeah.
So different people receive the love message in different ways.
Yeah.
And so there are different ways that we can show love. And what we want to do is find how our spouse feels loved, and that's the way we want to love them.
Yeah, Jesus.
Show them love.
Yes, Jesus taught us to love one another. He said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so we want to be communicated in a way that we feel loved, and so we want to communicate with others in a way that they feel loved.
Right. So we don't want to just know our spouse loves us sort of intellectually, but we want to feel that, and we want our spouse to feel it. And our spouse doesn't always feel loved in the way that we feel loved.
Right.
And so that's why we need to, study these things and find out about our spouse and how they receive love so we can give it in that way.
Philippians chapter 1, verse 9, Paul prayed that our love would abound yet more and more in knowledge and in all judgment. In other words, we'd understand some things and be able to deal with it rightly. And I'm going to love my wife and quit interrupting.
It's okay. It's okay. So one of the things I was thinking about as I was thinking about sharing with you tonight is the fact that we need to be praying. We need to be praying and asking God. As a good spouse, we definitely need to be taking these things to the Lord and saying, Lord, what is the best way to love my spouse? How can I love them in a way that they feel loved? Because God knows our spouse inside out better than we do. And so let's always keep that before the Lord and be praying about it so that we can get God's wisdom on it, because God has all the answers. But we wanted to go over some of the love languages. And so we want to start with number one is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And so it is just what it says it is, words of affirmation. So speaking words out your mouth that are uplifting words, words that encourage them, words that compliment them, even, just saying, I love you, that is words of affirmation, but telling them, hey, you look sharp today, or I like the way you are always on time.
Yeah.
I like, the way you always bring me a cup of coffee in the morning. I like, things like that. Or I like the way I like your style. I like the way you're so polite. I like the way you hold the door for people. And not just me, but everybody. I like how you're so polite. So actually speaking those things out, as Proverbs said, death and life are in the power of the tongue. And so we know that the tongue is super important and our words are super important. So if your spouse may feel loved by the love language of words of affirmation. So if they do, you need to begin to get that going in your life. And I want to tell you this too about somebody who has this love language, is that words that are demeaning or negative affect that person even more strongly than you could imagine.
Yes.
So you want to, if this is your spouse's love language, words of affirmation, then you want to be sure to be very careful to not be verbally putting them down, because it's really going to crush them.
I'd like to give an example here. There's been several times when we've been in a parking lot of a store, for instance, and I would help some lady that was there either get her baggage, or get her, what do you call it? The stuff in her grocery cart, or open the door, or packages. Just do something for them. Someone needed a hand, and I would give them a hand. And Joy will tell me later, I really appreciate that about you. That's really cool. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that blesses me when she does that.
That's good. So, words of affirmation are one of your, and that's probably your strongest, you think? Mm-hmm. Your love language. It's not mine, but it is his. And so I need to get on the stick, and I need to do a better job myself, It's just reminding myself that this is his love language, and I need to be careful with my words and make sure that my words are affirming, because you deserve it.
Well, thank you very much.
You deserve to feel loved.
You do.
And so words of affirmation. So another, going on to number 2, is quality time. And when we're talking about quality time, we're not talking just about rambling around in the house together. He's in his man cave and she's, watching HGTV. Oh, we had time. That's not the kind of time that we're talking about. Some people don't feel loved unless they have quality time. And that's a lot of people, but for some people, it's way up the list of super important.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about quality time, we're talking about that undivided attention time. We're not talking about you're on your device, I'm on my device, but we're sitting close together. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about maybe you're looking at each other eye to eye, you're having a conversation.
Yes.
You're the focus of each other's attention. That's the type of thing that we're talking about with quality time. It's when you're actively listening to one another and engaging in conversation, learning more about one another. I know sometimes we think, oh, I know everything about them. We've been married for
a long time.
46 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And you might think, well, I know everything, about my spouse. I've been married 20 years. I know everything about them. I heard somebody say this one time. A way to get to know somebody is to ask questions you think you already know the answer to.
Yes.
Because sometimes the answers do surprise you. And, people change over their lifetime. And so you're not the same as you were when I married you way back 46 years ago. You've changed, you have different perspectives, and different things have impacted your life. So it's good for me to stay in tune with who you are. So asking questions is a great way to engage in that, have that quality time be a great time together.
And a lot of times, what's happening right now, like you said, it's meaningful engagement. It's not minutes clocked with each other. It's not like you have spent enough minutes. For instance, right now, a lot of people are sequestered. They have stay-in-place orders and things like that. And just because you're in the house with one another a lot, matter of fact, a lot of people are considering whether they really want to retire right now because they're with each other all the time.
So this is what that would be like.
Yeah, that's not the quality time that we're talking about. And, it's just what she was saying about words of affirmation. We want to share some things here that we picked up from the blog Thriving Marriages, and Josh Pease and his crew. They're really good. Think about words of affirmation, the words. You guys are spending a lot of time with each other, but as couples, it would be good right now to just reaffirm this fact, by saying this to each other. I want to spend time with you. I want to spend time with you. Because, for instance, we work together a lot. We're together time-wise a lot. Yeah. But for me to think that is a date it's not a good thing.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And if you as a couple are going to have a really wonderful relationship, you're going to want to spend some meaningful time together, some meaningful engagement. And so, you know, I like time when it's just you and me. You know, the statement like
Saying
that.
things
Saying
like that.
things like that. I like time when it's just you and me. That's what makes things more romantic, and excuse me, builds the relationship. And so, we kind of want to give you a tip tonight, and an activity to do. I want you to ask the question of each other. You know, what do you like about a date? What do you
With
like
your spouse,
with
not
your
somebody else.
spouse, not somebody else? But like I would ask Joy, and we did this earlier. What do you like about a date? And let me give you some thoughts here. Some folks like about a date, they like getting dressed up. That's a nice thing about a date.
Yeah.
Other folks like
Mostly not guys. 'cause
you know, some folks say I like not doing the dishes. And I read that and I thought that what I thought was, oh, we're going to go someplace and leave the sink full of dishes. But actually what it means is perhaps I like going out to eat, going someplace where I don't have to cook and I don't have to clean up. Have to clean up after myself. That's what I like about a date. I like a lack of distractions. Man, if you got a house full of kids or other things, work, you know, just get
Right.
away. Someplace different, someplace new.
And sometimes
Yeah, go ahead.
the distractions are not necessarily kids, but they're like projects.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you're just at your house, sometimes you see the projects that need to be done and it can distract you.
Yeah. And so again, we're talking about meaningful engaging with each other. Like she was saying, sitting on the couch, looking at each other, looking into each other's eyes, talking about those things. If you go out, sometimes one thing about a date is going someplace new. Now, I'm a person, I like food adventures. You know, just try something different or try something that we haven't had for a long time or that we don't make at home. You know, something like that. Or go someplace where you've never been before. Try something different and different setting, different surroundings, man. It's just, it helps conversation get started. You know, I like the freedom to choose what, you know, maybe someone's I like the freedom to choose to do what we want to do. Maybe that's what we like on a date. It's just a freedom to get out of the house and do what we want to do. Or we laugh more. You know, it's just, that's what I like about a date. I like because we work harder at it. You know, being kind and nice to one another and having a good time and being fun. We make more eye contact. Or you give me here's kind of two sides of a coin. Someone might say, you give me a kiss that doesn't lead anywhere. You know, and the other person might say, well, we have sex afterwards. You know, after a day, you know,
If you're
that's
married.
right. If you're married. So, you know, two sides of a coin, two things about dating, and think about those things. And what do you like about a date? You know, you're really going to have to stop and think about it a little bit, and then express it to one another. And then here's the kicker: while you're sequestered at home, or while you're sheltering in place, and you're spending more time with each other, find a way. Pray, ask the Lord, think, find a way to incorporate those things into a special time right there that will really make the other person feel loved. You know, this quality time, things that you can do to enrich your home, your relationship. And so that's what we want you to do tonight. And it's about love language, about showing each other.
Well, this is like in the
love.
quality time.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're spending that quality time together, if that's your spouse's love language, like, and we all need to date our spouse anyway, but if your spouse's love language is quality time, it's super important to them to have these times where you are just the two of you. Spending just time together, and so we can call that a date.
Yeah.
And so finding out what your spouse likes about that will help you know how to do that. Like if your spouse likes getting dressed up, but we really can't go sit in a restaurant right now because of COVID-19, well, maybe you can just get dressed up anyway.
Yeah.
and have a nice, meal together at your own kitchen table. You can get some carry out.
Yeah.
And get dressed up and light a candle and have a little date,
Yes.
Find a way to
Make it special.
to have some special time together,
Yeah.
even though we're not really quarantined and we're not really in Iowa. We're not ordered to be at home, but we kind of are because everything's closed anyway. But find a way to spend special time. We're spending more time, but if it's not special time, it's not meeting that particular
Yeah.
need. It's not making your spouse feel loved. So make your spouse feel the love, okay?
Yeah.
So find out what they like about dates, and you guys plan a time where you can
Plan a time.
have a special time, meaningful time
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, you won't get this day back.
Yeah.
So let's make it special. Make them special. Hey, we love you guys. We're so glad
We
that
do.
you tuned in. All of you, man, I won't start naming all your names, but maybe I will. Mike and Linda and Mike and James and Abby and Stacy and all y'all. Thank you for
All
joining. All
y'all.
y'all. Thanks for joining in tonight.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for taking the time to sow into your marriage tonight.
Yeah, so cool. So cool. We love you. Have a great week.
Yes.
Amen. Bye now.